Good evening. So, SportsKop has wanted to start our own vodcasts for a really long time now. However, I keep getting sick and it keeps putting it off. And in fact, I'm a little sick right now, and so I may not be speaking properly. May have a lot of sniffling throughout the video. But I wanted to get this ball rolling. So our new goal is probably to start doing vodcasts every Sunday evening. There would be live streams. However, to get my feet wet, I wanted to do something pre-recorded, get a little practice with it because I've never done something like this before. So the first topic I wanted to talk about, because it's a pretty something that keeps coming up in conversations I'm having with friends, is that NBA teams should be basically building their teams the same way the Warriors have, except I really disagree with that. And so the first point why I don't think that should be the case is because Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green are all anomalies. Basically, Curry is the best shooter of all time, and he set NBA records in threes made and 3 times in his career already. He keeps breaking up his own record, and he's averaged even 5 a game just past year. You're not going to find any player, I can say in the next 20 years at least, that can match that or can even play the same style of as Curry. Then we have Klay Thompson, who's the world's second best shooter, and just the chances of having the best 2 scorers, the best 2 shooters, the best 2 rebounders, the best 2 shot blockers, best 2 assist men on the same team is very unlikely. The Warriors were lucky that Klay Thompson was available when they picked, although I still wish they got Kawhi Leonard then. But basically his accomplishments are overshadowed, and I think people don't realize how much of an anomaly Klay Thompson is as a shooter. Basically, his early career success indicates that he's on pace to make more threes than Curry has. I don't think he'll ever have a season where he makes 400, but it just goes to show you that you're having 2 players that are complete anomalies from the whole history of the NBA. So if a team wants to kind of copy the mantra of shoot a lot of threes, run on tempo, you're going to have a harder time than the Warriors, because the Warriors have lucked out in finding these 2 players. I say luck because I'll explain that a little later. And then we have Draymond Green, and he's the biggest anomaly of the 3 of them. He's a power forward that can guard all 5 positions, he can play make, and he can shoot threes. Normally when you have a stretch forward, the biggest thing you have to compromise is defense, except Green's defense is arguably the best in the NBA, and he makes the Warriors astronomically better on that end of the court. On top of that, he's one of the best playmakers on the team. It's just very rare to get all this from the same power forward position. And his background further proves it, which kind of goes into my next point. Like, the Warriors got really lucky with Draymond Green and his development too. He was a 2nd round pick and just the way NBA history goes, 2nd round picks are either forgotten, have short NBA careers, or career backups. And that's kind of what Draymond Green's first few years pointed to. He was going to be a career backup power forward, career backup small forward. He was always kind of a tweener because of his unique skill set. But then when David Lee got injured, he got room to grow and develop himself. And what's really ironic is that when Steve Kerr came to the Warriors, his biggest thing was feed David Lee more in the post, because post scoring is more consistent than 3-point shooting, and Steve Kerr wanted more of a unique offensive attack. And when David Lee went down, it kind of paved the way for Draymond Green, and then the Warriors had to kind of adjust on the fly, and it ended up being one of the best things that happened to them. Point 3, basically the best thing that happened to them were injuries. Another thing that people forget is that Curry was very injury prone his first few years, and that didn't give him a lot of leverage when he was talking for contract negotiations. In fact, he only got $11 million, and when's the last time you heard of a 2-time MVP getting $11 million a year? It doesn't happen very often, or at all, in fact. maybe in baseball because of arbitration deals, but that's about it. Not in football, not in basketball. And because Curry's contract was so small, I say small, but relatively small, the Warriors had a ton of financial flexibility, and this allowed them to take on big contracts like David Lee's and Andrew Bogut's, and those two were pivotal in the turnaround of the Warriors. Basically, they helped a lot with their high post passing. David Lee was a good scorer. Andrew Bogut was a great interior defender, and he's basically the two of them really helped change the culture of the team, and gave the Warriors all the basically all the freedom they have now. And they were very important to the turnaround, as I keep saying. And then basically the last point is that the market is really different than what it was before. So it's hard to find a second round pick and 11 that's runner up defensive player of the year, that's an all-star, a 2-time MVP for $11 million. And then on top of that, you have a market which is basically completely out of proportion after the salary cap hike. Basically second tier players are getting max contracts now. Look at Bradley Beal, LaMarcus Aldridge. Those players aren't playing to those contracts, but it's just what they command now because of the salary cap hike. And even average NBA players are getting $15 million. This doesn't really give any other team the flexibility the Warriors have basically enjoyed for the past, let's say, 6 years. And the long story short is the Warriors got really lucky into their road here, and teams can't build that. They can't build a team off of a second round pick. They can't build a team off of a lottery pick who is injured very often, and they can't build a team off of 3-point shooting. People will point to like the Houston Rockets, and this is why the conversation keeps coming up. The Rockets are doing great in the playoffs, competing hard with the Spurs, and are giving one of the few competitive series we're having this entire playoffs. But even then, like, James Harden is a generational talent. I think he's better than Curry and Thompson. A lot of my peers will disagree with me, but the point is that these kind of players don't grow on trees, so you're not going to get the chance to build your team around them very often. And even the Rockets are having a lot of success, but I don't think they're anyone's championship pick. Even if they somehow advance to the NBA Finals, it'd still be a tough road for them. And I don't think anyone could even beat the Warriors at their own game. So if you get in this best-of-7 series against them and you're trying to outshoot them, you're trying to outrun them, it's not going to work because the Warriors are very versatile. They have more weapons than any other team would. And I don't know, I just don't want people to lose sight of how the Warriors, really a lot of things worked in their favor for them to build the mega team that they have now. That pretty much concludes everything I have to say. Thank you for listening.